Arsenal Technical High School starts, September 11th, 1912. As fate would have it, in the fall of 1912, Indianapolis Public Schools was desperately in need of another high school. The U.S. Army campus, with the large Arsenal building, was standing vacant, and the Winona Institute was now closed. Indianapolis Public Schools purchased the 76-acre campus in order to relieve the overcrowded conditions in Shortridge and manual training high schools. The only feasible plan seemed to be to form a new third high school where students might be accommodated. New students were given all the studies open to beginners at the other schools, and they could transfer at the end of the year and continue their studies. On September 11th, 1912, Principal Milo Stewart and 8 teachers opened Arsenal Technical High School, the third high school, as the city was growing outside its mile radius area to 1500 East Michigan Avenue, and the new Woodruff Place to the east of the campus. On the morning of September 11th, 1912, 101 anxious students arrived early in the morning to enroll in the newest high school. Students climbed up the old winding staircase, past the hoist lift, and into room 7. There were no desks, blackboards, or even classroom partitions. Carpenters were working quickly to make partitions into classrooms, but there was so much to be done before school could open. So Principal Milo Stewart asked the students to come back again a week later, and the school would be ready for them on September 17th. On that day, there were 183 who were ready to enroll, and teachers began their first day at Arsenal Technical High School. As the year progressed, things began to be much brighter for the students, and the enthusiasm for the new high school increased the enrollment. By the end of that first year, the enrollment from transfer and new students had reached 347 in May at the end of the year. Beginning in the fall of 1913, enrollment was 626, and by the next year, enrollment was 1,160. During this time, also, the first printed edition of the school paper was published, and soon named Cannon. In 1915 to 1916, there were 1,400 students attending. On May 22, 1916, nearly 4 years after the first day of school, the Indiana Supreme Court ruled that the property, including the buildings erected during the Civil War, and the acreage of woodland, was rightfully under the jurisdiction of the Indianapolis Board of Public School Commissioners. There was great jubilation and festive celebration on the campus. This day has continued to be known as Supreme Day. Today, it is a day for recognizing outstanding honor students, scholarships, and special alumni. The first students graduated in June of 1915. In 1916, vocational education was added to the school's offerings. Woodworking, agriculture, building trades, automobile repair, construction, electricity, machine shop, and printing. From 1916 to 1917, the numbers of students had increased to 2,020, and 459 entered mid-year. At this time in 1917, it was necessary to split attendance, some students attending in the morning and some students attending school in the afternoon. Faculty had grown to 65 teachers, whose day began at 7:30 and ended at 5 p.m. Classes were meeting in the barn, barracks, east and west residence, the shops, the arsenal, and the artillery building. Classrooms in the campus was very crowded, but all managed somehow. From 1917 to 1918, the number of students increased to over 2,500. It was at this time that Tech started a football team, baseball, basketball, tennis, and track. that soon gained popularity and developed many loyal fans. By the opening of school in 1918, there were over 3,000 students attending Arsenal Technical High School on a daily basis. During the World War I years, many Tech male students attending ROTC summer camps and became officers in the war effort. Early in 1919, building plans were initiated, and soon thereafter in 1920, construction of a liberal arts and academic classroom, the Main, later named Treadwell Hall, was begun. On Veterans Day, November 11, 1919, south of the Arsenal building, 240 trees were planted to honor the pupils and teachers who served the military forces during World War I. This area of the wooded campus became known thereafter as Liberty Grove. In 1920, a list of alumni from the classes of 1915 to 1918 was compiled, and the Alumni Association of all graduates was established. In 1921, enrollment was over 5,000 students. The new classroom building, the Main, was finished and in use by 1922. Enrollment continued to increase annually. The new shops and the new girls' gym, Lone Hall, were added to the campus in 1922. When this building was built, it was known as the new shop, because the old shops had been in the Arsenal building. In 1924, the power plant was constructed. This structure is still in use today. The northeast and southeast wings were added to the main building, Treadwell Hall, in 1928. Here are pictures of the construction of that portion of the building. This was to give additional classrooms for many students now attending daily. In 1929, the Reuben P. Belmer Gymnasium was opened. Seating capacity was nearly 4,000. A pipe organ was also installed for convocations, singing, and graduation ceremonies. The organ was even played during basketball games to add to the enthusiasm of the game. In May of 1929, the east residence was demolished to make room for the drive, which travels northeast around the south end of the Main and then north along the west property line of Woodruff Place. The next structure added to the Tech campus was the football stadium, now known as the Howard L. Longshore Stadium and Wally Potter Football Field. This was added in 1939 as part of the WPA project. A quarter-mile oval track enclosed the new football field. Athletic events were gaining popularity, and Tech was producing winning teams in all sports. By this time, 1937 to 38, the enrollment at Tech High School had reached 7,895, with over 350 teaching staff. This was larger than any college campus in the state. The enrollment of this school from its founding in 1912 of 183 students to this number in such a short time reflects the growth of the state's capital city. Tech was one of the largest and most respected, innovative, and comprehensive high schools in the nation. The next building being planned for construction was Stewart Hall in 1940.